He came from humble beginnings.
I'm so damn old they didn't have fantasy football when I was young.
He was about to be an overnight success. But celebrity would nearly cost him everything. His friends, his family, his career, and even his life. He fell from grace and fell hard.
Nevertheless, Jim believed that somehow, some way, things would work out. Tonight, a VH1 exclusive, the triumph and the tragedy of Jim.
The world gained a new folk hero this year. You don't pull off the Lone Ranger's mask, you don't tug on Superman's cape, and you sure don't want to mess around with Big Jim.
It's the spring of 2010.
I was coming off of 2 excellent seasons, but 2 disappointing postseasons. I lost to a 4-10 team the first year. Not saying anything about it yet. Second year I lost in the Super Bowl. I was disappointed. I had a long way to go.
Jim was preparing for what he saw as the 2 greatest accomplishments of his life.
I was coming off of 2 great seasons, but I hadn't won any money. We weren't a money league then. I had to start taking odd jobs, start driving a truck.
He was forced to take odd jobs just to make ends meet. He drove a truck.
I just said that.
He did what it took to survive.
I wasn't starving or anything, I was just working.
And before long, he landed his first big break.
I finally got over that hump. I'd gotten so close. The first year I had the best team. The second year I was in the Super Bowl.
Jim was still constantly on the road.
It was tough. I was out there working every day, doing my research in my free time. But it was tough. There wasn't as many sites, no podcasts.
But he was earning the respect of thousands of fans.
Nee, Spijk was degene die de feestmaker. Die kreeg het zelfs voor mij af en toe voor elkaar, omdat dan stond ik te serieus te zingen, om maar zo te noemen. Dus, kom even een feest vieren, man. En ja, die ging er als een... Bas was sowieso al degene die altijd 1 vierkante meter, die ruim voldoende.
This ordinary man was finally on his way to becoming an extraordinary star.
The hard work was paying off.
Jim was becoming the kind of celebrity that celebrities wanted to see. Cheech Marin of Cheech and Chong fame became fast friends with Jim.
Especially if you're on the road, which he always was and we always were, you know. That's funny because we never met each other in L.A., very seldom. We'd always meet each other in New York or Chicago or something. Oh, and it was always like, oh, man, you have an old friend that was in town.
Next, a jealous rivalry begins.
Commissioner, Matt, Paul as I sometimes refer to him, he's Paul, I'm Jim, I don't know, it's a thing. He was always jealous of my success. He had won on a technicality in 2008, and he'd always wanted a legitimate title.
According to insiders, he ruled by fear and intimidation.
Yeah, more like fucking up and more fucking up, am I right?
But now their dueling personalities were hurtling toward a crisis point.
At this point, I was the most powerful team in the league, 2-time champ. He was the commissioner. I got tired of putting up with his shit. I put up with his shenanigans for a couple weeks, and finally I took over the league.
The combination of street smarts and military discipline made him perfect for the job.
I walked right up to him, said, Paul, if you don't get your shit together, I'm gonna have to whoop your ass.
Paul knows it's now or never and makes a mad dash.
Wouldn't you know, that bitch turned and ran. But we finished out the season. It's his league again, even though I do most of the grunt work. He got his shit together, and now it's all good. Besides, who could stay mad at a face like this?
Coming up, an epic rivalry comes to a head.
It didn't so much come to a head as I just started to really, really suck at fantasy football.
Once strangers, the 2 men have remained friends.
But behind the streamers and confetti, storm clouds were gathering.
But those closest to him were starting to see a big and ominous change.
I wasn't doing well. I wasn't doing the research, I wasn't putting in the time, screwing up the drafts, you name it. Everything went wrong.
Smoke what some estimate at nearly 1.5 pounds of marijuana a week.
Well, yeah, there was that.
He was under siege from critics and rivals looking to knock him off his throne, which only intensified the pressure. But years of public adulation, starlets, and hard living would catapult this unlikely leading man to rock bottom.
I have no idea what happened. 3 years of ineptitude. It was a real low point. I was struggling. I wasn't doing my drafts right. I wasn't doing the research. I wasn't doing anything. I was listening to Paul's advice. Everything went wrong. Everything.
The fans were gone, the cheering had stopped, and he was left behind with a tainted reputation. Jim was on the verge of walking away.
I'm going into the next year thinking I got as good a chance as anybody. Got a good pick in the draft, high pick in the draft. No, wasn't my time.
But he's still in deep trouble.
It's been 2 years and I'm dying. 11th place 2 years in a row. But little did I know things were going to get so much worse.
He was overcome by powerful feelings of failure and despair.
1 and 12. 1 and 12. I won 1 game that year. 1.
It would pale in comparison to the shocking news he would soon receive.
3 full seasons. 3 years. And then came this kick in the dick. I'd been really killing it in the trade department that year, and this was my retribution.
They contend it was a payback by officials for the way he had challenged their authority. The experience made a lasting impression on him.
You're goddamn right it made a lasting impression. I'll never forget that. I've since moved on from that, but I'll never let that one go. It really opened my eyes. After that, I really dug in, really rededicated myself after that, and started putting in time. Some would say an unhealthy amount of time.
Embarked on a personal voyage of self-discovery. He retreated to his home and family and finally found the inner peace he'd sought for so long.
I just said, fuck it. Things couldn't get any worse. Went back to basics. Hit the books, hit the websites, hit the podcasts. It's all it takes sometimes.
Hard at work getting back into fighting form. What did not kill him definitely made him stronger.
It was a lot of hard work. Didn't happen all at once. Got back to relevance slowly. A couple years I was in it. Took a long time to get back. But I did. I got back. I made it.
His relentless quest for success.
He says from his success he earned a fortune, and from his mistakes he learned what is truly valuable. Later, the unlikely redemption of the ultimate anti-hero.
And you know, we closed places. We'd stay up till it got light. And I really miss that. I really miss that.
Yeah, I miss Cheech. I have to stay dedicated to what's important. I can't go down that road again. Mr. Cheech, love you, man.
Drifting away was the pain of his grueling battle. He's never forgotten his past.
1 and 12.
Stronger and more determined than ever. Takes on all comers. They're a reminder of where he is and how far he's come. People can say what they want. Now he just laughs.
I believe that as a talent, He's unparalleled, and I think that history will look at him with much more favor than perhaps he's been regarded in the last few years, when I think he has undeservedly sort of had the limelight taken away from him.
Don't mess around with Jim.